The Matrix Resurrections, the fourth Matrix movie, comes out December 2021. This is a reboot of the franchise. Is this any good? Will this be better than the last two Matrix movies? Let me tell you what I think and whether you should go watch this coming up next. Matrix Resurrections is kind of a reboot, kind of a sequel, and it begins with Thomas Anderson, aka Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, as a computer programmer who's made the games, The Matrix. He's made the Matrix trilogy as video games, and he's in a world where he's supposed to make a reboot or a sequel to his Matrix trilogy of video games. He's also going to a therapist played by Neil Patrick Harris, and he's having psychotic episodes or delusions. He's not sure what's real and what's not. And I really liked the first act of this movie. I thought it was very promising, as first of all, building on the Matrix trilogy, the previous one of movies. Second of all, thinking about, well, how is this movie going to be a sequel in an era where there are endless franchise sequels, corporate franchise sequels? In fact, this movie talks openly about Warner Brothers, wanting basically to do a cash grab on another Matrix movie. And it's really interesting, the meta games that are played in the first act of this Matrix sequel. I was also thrilled that it has the old cyberpunk aesthetic, which is, I think, kind of cool. I like the retro thing, even a bit of cultural conservatism here, like bringing back this early to mid-90s aesthetic into 2021. As well, there are lots of homages to postmodernists from especially one of my favorite authors, Philip K. Dick, also William Gibson. I highly recommend reading these two authors. And they're sitting here in this first act, and everything is waiting to be developed out of what I think is a really good start to this movie. The movie has a question of the first movie: what is real? How do we know what is real? And are we living in computer simulation or a simulation, or are we all brainwashed? All these questions come up wonderfully in the beginning, and that, of course, is the premise of the first Matrix movie, or at least the beginning of the first Matrix movie. I really like these sorts of questions because they deal with human perception, human subjectivity, and also the question of, are our brains constructing reality? Is reality really out there? These topics are really rich for science fiction. They deserve to be developed, especially since neuroscience and simulation theory have really blossomed in the last 20 years since the first Matrix movie came out in 1999. I say all that because ultimately this movie I thought was pretty bad. I can't give you any more than that. But it starts with the premise of the therapist telling Thomas Anderson he's full of it, he's imagining things, he needs to take his pills. Also, maybe Thomas Anderson sees what's real or not. I mean, how can he tell the difference between what's real or not? And then it devolves into what I think, and this is not really a spoiler, is a rehash of the Matrix original trilogy, especially the first movie. I mean, you will see literal shots and scenes replayed over and over and over and over again from the very first movie, as if this Matrix Resurrection movie is more an homage to the greatness of the original Matrix than it is a development out of it, I think. Now, I've read a lot of critics who say this is a bold and original vision. I don't think so, because it's simply repeating, as a lot of these corporate sequels do, what was supposedly great about the original. You're going to get white rabbits. You're going to get a lot of red pill, blue pill imagery. I mean, it's 10 to 12 times in here. You're going to get the White Rabbit song played by Jefferson Airplane. You're going to get mirrors, weird mirror images. You're going to get computer simulations. All that green type on screen coming down. You're going to get Mr. Smith coming back, Morpheus coming back, Trinity coming back. Unfortunately, Lawrence Fishburne and Hugo Weaving are not back in this movie. I really like them in the original Matrix trilogy. And I think one of the major flaws of the original Matrix trilogy comes up here, which is action for action's sake, shooting, guns, lots of gun violence for gun violence sake. And this is not a movie about aesthetics or its own style. It is about something. It's trying to change the world or influence the world in some way, as the original Matrix movie was, as this movie says the original Matrix movie was. And yet you have violence for violence sake, whatever, but there's so many action scenes that are extended. There's not a development of special effects technology as the original Matrix movie did. And you can take endless bathroom breaks here. You can go to the concession stand. You won't miss a lot of this movie from, say, the hour mark to the end. You won't miss plot development. There's not much. There's a lot of extra characters who aren't needed. Really what happens, not much of a spoiler, is that this is a Rescue the Princess from a Fortress movie, mostly. It's not the last 10 to 20 minutes, but mostly it's Rescue a Princess from a Fortress from a big, bad video game boss. I have to say, I was hankering for Battlestar Galactica or The Expanse, TV shows that are literary, that have, even at times better visuals, although I do like the Wachowskis, some of their aesthetic design in this. I did like Neil Patrick Harris as a big bad boss, but unfortunately Keanu Reeves is not given much to do beyond the first act. And so for all of those reasons, I did not like this movie at all. I wonder if it's going to get some Razzie Awards, or Razzie nominations at least. Overall, as a story and screenplay, development of characters, the ideas in this, the philosophy, everything was there to be developed, and I didn't think it was. So for all those reasons, I'm going to give this 1.5 stars. I really think the cyberpunk vision here needs to be developed. Read William Gibson, read Philip K. Dick. There's endless amounts of authors and many good movies from 20 to 30 years ago that explore this. Heck, Fassbender's World on a Wire, maybe the original simulation, it's a TV series, and Black Mirror. This stuff, The Matrix, I don't think this movie deals with. It's more interested in its action scenes, to me, in the last half of the movie than it is with the ideas. So for all those reasons, I just don't think this movie is worthwhile at all. All that said, what did you think of this movie? Do you think it's great? Do you think it's not great? Let us know in the comments. I'd really appreciate hearing from you. Kindly, please. And please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day.